Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on Dangerous Dogs. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Stories about dog attacks on people and on other dogs are getting more attention. So we're wondering, if a misbehaving dog attacks and hurts another person or pet, should its owner pay the price behind bars? It was a vicious attack on Penny the Chihuahua in May 2025 on Manhattan's Upper West Side. Two pit bulls attacked and mauled Penny, leaving her with injuries so severe they required emergency surgery. It's been a long road to recovery, but things are looking up, says her owner, Claus, who depends on Penny for emotional support.
Penny, as you can see, seems to be doing really well. We are still monitoring her as far as infection goes, but we think that her prognosis is really, really good. She is back to her old personality.
Outrage over the vicious attack on the sweet Chihuahua grew when it became known the same pair of pit bulls allegedly attacked and killed a dog months earlier in Central Park. No police action could be taken because it wasn't on the books as a crime. Now there's a bill that's been introduced in the New York State Legislature called Penny's Law that would establish criminal penalties, including jail, for dog owners whose reckless dog handling injured or caused death to pets or humans. Assemblymember Jennifer Rajkumar says it's long overdue.
We hear so many reports of dogs being attacked, of dogs being held off leash. And we have to stop these preventable tragedies. We have to stop pets being mauled by attack dogs with no accountability.
Prominent dog trainer Ramella Chamaki says the behavior of dangerous dogs tells you a lot about the owners. She says when she saw the video of the disturbing attack, it was clear the dogs were angry because their needs were not being met, and the owner had no control over them.
You notice the two pit bulls are leading in the front with the owners in the back. They are white knuckling these thick chain leashes while being pulled by these pit bulls. When you see that there's no relationship here between the dog and the handler.
Let's take this to our panel and dive deeper into this important issue. Joining me for this conversation is Claus. She is Penny's mom. Lauren, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. Also with us is one of the elected officials that's been out on the forefront of this issue, Assemblymember Jennifer Rajkumar. She's the Assembly Member for District 38 in South Queens. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. Also with us is Ramella Chamaki. She is the founder and owner of Ramella's Canine Academy. Ramella, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
We really appreciate it. Lauren, let me start with you. First of all, tell us how Penny is doing now.
Penny's actually doing really, really well. Fortunately, because of all the bystanders on the Upper West Side that stepped in to help her, she only sustained injuries on her back and on her chest. So she has no internal injuries, no broken bones, and she's able to heal really well. She might just have a little bit of problems with infection, which we're going to monitor with the vet. But honestly, this is the best outcome we could have hoped for her.
Take us back to that time when that happened on the Upper West Side there. How traumatic was that for you?
So my dog, I share custody with my ex who takes her out to walk. So he actually took her that day and I was elsewhere. So I received a call from him and I just broke down. I was with my partner and I just hugged him and I was just like, what is going on? I don't even understand. We rushed straight to the hospital from the subway that we were standing, and I just saw my ex and I lost it. I just hugged him and we were all crying. It was a really, really traumatic experience. And when we saw the doctor, we didn't know what her prognosis was going to be. He needed to shave her and look her over and give her x-rays and scans to make sure that no other injuries had happened. So he wasn't actually sure what her prognosis would be. So we left the vet that evening, not knowing if we would have a dog the next day.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to hear that she's doing better, and I'm glad that we have the time with all of you to really get into this issue. Assemblymember Jennifer Rajkumar, when you heard about this incident, tell us what struck you and why you decided to get so involved and speak out about it.
I've been hearing from families in every borough, aggressive dogs off the leash, owners doing nothing, pets getting attacked, even children being bitten. So this is a citywide crisis, and it's time we treat it like one. And our hearts broke across the city when we heard what happened to Penny the Chihuahua. And so that's why I snapped into action and we created Penny's Law to make sure this never happens again.
We'll get into Penny's Law a little bit further on in the show, but just give us a quick idea of what you want to seek with Penny's Law, what you hope to achieve.
Well, Penny's Law is very simple. If your dog mauls another dog, you're held accountable. No more loopholes, no more excuses. This is really about justice for Penny and for every family who's had a pet attacked in a vicious, preventable attack.
Ramella, when you heard about this story with Penny, what did you think? With all of your experience, all of the dogs that you work with, the owners, what went through your mind when you saw those videos, these horrific videos, and then also found out what had actually happened?
Yes, when I saw this video, I was very taken aback because the owners of these pets are very undereducated. They don't really understand the relationship that goes between the owner and the dog on the street. And there's a huge disconnect in that relationship. And that disconnect is a leading indicator of what happens out there on the street. And so if I was to be hired by this family, I would go to their home and right away I would say, what is your relationship like? Why are you so disconnected with your dogs? And what do we need to do? And let's get some action plan in place so that when you do go out on the street, there's a connection between you and your dogs.
Stay with us, there's more to come.
Penny represents everybody's dog who's been hurt or attacked and they had no recourse.
Lauren, tell us, have you had other experiences walking Penny and being out with Penny where she was intimidated because of her size?
To be honest with you, the Upper West Side, I had assumed up until this moment was a really safe neighborhood. I mean, we have had very pleasant, mostly experiences with dogs. A lot of the dogs that are even slightly unpleasant are just overeager, very, wanting to sniff everything, but nothing that was aggressive like this. This is the first time I've ever experienced or seen anything like this. I don't believe it's unique because we have been talking to people around the neighborhood who have basically told us that similar things have happened all over with their dog. This seems to be kind of an epidemic. And I think that we have to start looking at what the loopholes are and why people aren't getting dangerous dog forms filled out by police, why police aren't taking dangerous dog forms, why they aren't educated on doing this. Because it really seems that what I'm struggling with, what the lawyers that I have engaged are struggling with, is trying to figure out what the laws actually are in order for them to work properly to help Penny and other dogs in the future.
In terms of the way the laws are now, if a dog bites a person, the police get involved and they press charges, correct?
Correct.
But if a dog, as what happened to Penny, a dog is attacked by another dog, basically, as Lauren just described, is kind of in this gray area, this black hole of inaction.
That's correct. Right now in New York, if your dog kills another dog, there's almost no penalty. And Penny's Law ends that. What we're trying to do is build one of the strongest laws in the nation to stop dangerous dogs before they kill again. And so Penny's Law holds owners accountable when their dog causes fatal harm. It also introduces criminal charges for negligent handling of dangerous dogs. And it ends the loophole that lets irresponsible owners escape punishment. It ensures swift justice for victims and for their families and sends a clear message: protect our pets and protect our community.
Sometimes when we've seen these attacks, it's happened in the past too, where it's been pit bulls that have been the aggressors. And some of the pit bull owners have said, and I've gotten comments on social media about it, they'll say, it's not the dog, don't blame the dog, it's the owner. There's no bad breed of dogs. Are there certain breeds that are just more aggressive? What is your take? Help us understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with those pit bull owners that you're referring to. I have a substantial amount of clients that do own these breeds, and I have to tell you, they are truly sweet, sweet dogs. One of the comments that Lauren had made on one of her interviews was that it's not the dog's fault, it's the owner's, and that's very correct. In that if we take the breed concept off the table. Let's just take breeds off the table and let's just stay centered with the concept of pet or dog ownership. There are certain responsibilities when you take on the ownership of a dog. So now there is that some breeds tend to be hyperstimulated by outside stimulation and some not so much. When you take a dog on a leash outside and the dog rarely, if at all, checks back in with you to the end of the leash and comes outside scanning for trouble, scanning and staying disconnected from their owner, that is a dog that requires a lot of help with their owner. That is not a breed specific concern. So pit bulls in general are getting really bad reputation, which is uncalled for. Pit bulls tend to be extremely kind, extremely loyal, very gentle, very loving. But the second you go out on a street with a dog that you don't have any structure, you don't have any boundaries, you have no control, you take this 80, 90, 100-pound dog that doesn't look to you for direction, doesn't look to you for respect, will take the outside as a stimuli, and the instincts do kick in.
I have covered stories, a number of them, and a lot of times it's been pit bulls that have been the aggressor of causing injury. When you talk about the instincts, so a pit bull's going to have an instinct to attack.
So the instinct of a dog, irregardless. I'll give you an example. When you have a squeaky toy, you just take a squeaky toy and you toss it to a dog. Some dogs will go take that squeaky toy, put it in their mouth, and squeak it. And they'll play with it and they'll throw it back and forth. They'll toss it back and forth to you. Some dogs will take that same squeak toy and instantly want to kill the squeak. And that squeak, that sound, could potentially mimic a sign of weakness to certain dogs. Now, when I say certain dogs, that is not categorizing a breed. It just means dogs in general.
And Jennifer, you're going around the city a lot. Do you hear people complaining too about these dogs, particularly the larger dogs, the more aggressive dogs that are off leash in areas like playgrounds and parks and even on the sidewalk?
Yes, everywhere from the Upper West Side to South Queens to Staten Island, I'm hearing about the dangers of aggressive dogs. And I have to agree that this isn't about breed, it's about behavior, responsibility, and about repeat attacks that are never addressed. Did you know that there's more accountability if you damage someone's car than if your dog kills their family pet? That's just wrong. And negligent owners walk away while innocent dogs die. And that's going to end with Penny's Law. Penny's Law aims to protect the good dogs by stopping the bad situations that give all dogs a bad name. And if you're a responsible dog owner, this law is going to protect you. But if you're reckless, this law is going to hold you accountable.
Lauren, there was some talk. I don't know maybe you could help us bring us up to speed on it. That the dogs that were involved in the attack on Penny had previous incidents. Is that true?
Yes, we've had many people in the neighborhood who live in that area say they've seen him training his dog to attack the swings in a playground. They've seen him walking along the street and his dogs will lunge at other dogs and they fortunately miss, but he's still not keeping control of his dogs. In the video on Penny's attack, you can see at the moment the girl who is holding the second dog, the rear dog, she drops the leash at one point and doesn't go to immediately pick it back up. So she is not even in control of that dog in the first place, much less, the other man. And we watched him as he walked his other dog back into the fight so both dogs could grab Penny. So we really see a pattern of negligence on this owner's part. We believe that he had a summons issued from the Department of Health to muzzle his dogs, and he hasn't done that. And Penny was attacked. And he killed another dog in Central Park in January. Those dogs and that owner, a dog was killed, and that owner had no justice. The only reason that this is getting the attention it is now is because the attack was that people witnessed what was actually going on. Unfortunately for the woman in the Central Park attack, there weren't a lot of people around for her to help her out. I was just very lucky. And I'm so happy and pleased that everybody has been able to step up for Penny, but Penny represents all dogs. Penny represents everybody's dog who's been hurt or attacked and they had no recourse. And it's really frustrating. And this whole process has been extremely frustrating in trying to get her justice.
Jennifer, in terms of the laws, aren't you supposed to have your dog on a leash if you're in public in New York City?
Yes, you are, but it's far too common for people to have their dogs illegally off the leash. And people with attack dogs who let their dogs illegally off the leash again and again and again, that's a real problem. And that's why we're going to make those dog owners criminally liable for the sake of all of our pets, to make sure that what happened to Penny doesn't happen to any other dogs.
And Ramella, when we spoke before the show, you told me that a dog should be so well trained that even if for some reason the owner drops the leash, they trip or whatever, that the dog doesn't just automatically start running and attacking somebody. But that's the image that a lot of us have of what happens.
Yes, that's right. Our dogs are being treated like teddy bears with a heartbeat. They are not being respected to what they actually need. Dogs need structure, they need boundaries, they need love, and they need a lot of sleep, believe it or not. And so what happens is a lot of owners will not give dogs any training. They will not quench their energy. They will keep their energy tank full. And then when they go out on the street with a leash that is just pulling the owner, the dog is like shark underwater, just scanning for trouble.
Lauren, I mean, we're talking about the dogs, obviously, but it's traumatic for for moms and dads, dog families like yourself when something like this happens.
Yes, and actually, we have no recourse for that. We can only sue civilly, and to the state, Penny is worth around $400. And sometimes you can get a little bit more in punitive damages, but it wouldn't be exceeding the amount of like $1,000 in punitive damages and for vet bills. So essentially, she's being treated as a destruction of property and not as a being who's a member of my family and who is, I mean, I have so much emotional distress. She's actually my emotional support dog. She comes to work with me every day. And I have a general anxiety disorder. And so for me to have my emotional support dog essentially ripped apart was extremely trying. And I have no recourse for my mental health, my therapy bills, the things that I need to stay stable and be a valuable member of society.
Let's welcome Penny officially to Street Soldiers for her Street Soldiers debut.
Say hi. Hi.
Oh
She
wow.
feels a little naked.
She looks really good though. Really
She's
good.
doing so much better. Before, like her whole chest was covered in bruising, and now it's like almost all healed. So she's doing so much better.
Ramella, for people that are watching this, what advice do you have just for owners in general to make sure that they're acting responsibly?
So what I would recommend is for new dog owners is to start in two ways. One, hire a private trainer to come into your home and be very specific in fulfilling the dog's needs. And in addition to doing private training with a private trainer, I would strongly recommend that the same dog owners go to group classes, because in group classes they teach etiquette to be out in the world, in society, amongst other dogs, leash manners, stimulation, how to get the dog to engage with you under different stressors.
Assembly Member Jennifer Rajkumar, in terms of getting this Penny's Law passed, what can people do if they want to support this and see this enacted?
So if you love dogs, now is the time to act. I am leading a citywide movement to protect our dogs. And if you want to help, please get in touch with me. I'm Jennifer Rajkumar. You can find me all over social media channels, email my office, join our movement to protect our beloved dogs who are like members of our family. This is the most popular bill in Albany, Penny's Law, in honor of Penny the Chihuahua. So we can get it over the finish line, but we need you to join our movement. We need you to contact your state legislators, make sure they are on the bill so that we can get it through and hold negligent dog owners accountable and protect our pets.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on Dangerous Dogs. You can watch it again and share it on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page and the Fox Local app. Remember, use your mind as your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.